Hello, Bacha Party. Hello, good evening, dear friends and students. This is your mentor and guide and friend, Dr. Sunil Kanal, going to take your 10th standard revision lectures along with Anubhavi Foundation. And we are going to start a new topic today, the revision on Science 1 second chapter, that is periodic classification of elements. Again, a very important chapter for those especially who are going for science stream. It is a very important chapter for your chemistry also. It is for 4 marks and with option 6 marks. It's an important chapter. Okay. So this is an important chapter which we are going to see. So, dear friends, first of all, we should understand what is classification of elements. In ninth standard, you have talked about elements. What are elements? Elements are those substances which cannot be further divided by any physical or chemical processes. So, earlier, what happened is when in a very earlier or ancient times, especially in India, the Indian philosophers and scientists or the sages of those times had said that this earth or this full world or this universe is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta, that is air, water, fire, earth, and the sky. These were the five elements from which the whole universe has been made up of. And as the science developed further, today, at present, today, we have 118 known elements, okay, either naturally present or they are artificially prepared by the scientists in the laboratories, okay. But around the year 1800 AD, only about 30 elements were known, and it was at that time uh, the mass number of the element was more important at that time. You know that in atom, the there are two important concepts: the atomic mass number and the atomic number. Atomic mass number is the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atom, which constitutes the major mass of the atom. So atomic mass was given prior importance, or very much important, because all the scientists at that time thought that all the properties of elements were because of its mass, and more information about the properties of these elements were being gathered at that time. To ease the study of such a large number of elements, scientists started studying the pattern in which this vast information could be stored and could be understood by people throughout the ages. And therefore, the concept of classification came. So, in the initial classification, elements were classified on the basis of group of metals and non-metals. But later on, as the discovery of metalloids occurred, the classification took the metalloids, which had properties of both metals and non-metals, into account. And therefore, there were three major groups of elements at that time, known at that time: metals, non-metals, and metalloids. As the classification, as the study and the research went on increasing, different scientists brought about different methods of classification at that time. The first pioneer work in that regard was by Dobriner. So we will be studying something about Dobrainer's triads. Okay. In the year 1817, a German scientist, Dobriner, suggested that elements can be classified on the basis of the atomic masses. So he said properties of elements are related to their atomic masses, and he made the group of three elements each, and such a group of elements was called triads. Okay, so in this triads, it was the classification was based on the ascending order of the atomic masses of the elements, in which the similar means elements of similar chemical properties were grouped in a group of three elements, which were called as triads. Okay, so he arranged the three elements in such a way that the atomic mass of the middle element was approximately equal to the mean of the atomic masses of the other two elements in the triad. Okay, the most important example for this is that of lithium, sodium, and potassium. Now, this is one triad which is a very famous triad. Okay, so lithium has the atomic mass of around 6.9. Sodium, we'll be seeing now, it is around 23, and potassium is 39.1. Okay, now when the elements, that is lithium, sodium, and potassium, were arranged in the ascending order of the atomic masses, the atomic mass of sodium was found to be the average or arithmetic mean of the masses of other two elements. You can see that sodium is 6.9 plus 39.1 upon 2, which is 46 upon 2, which is 23. Thus, in this way, Dobrynner had prepared lots of triads which were of the known elements at that time. But he failed in some afterwards in the classification, and all the known elements were not able to be classified as Dobrynner's triads. That is a limitation of his triads. So this is the way you are supposed to write the answer also. You have to give an example, especially this example is very, very important. You should know about the triads, and you should also write about the limitation of that Dobrynner's triad. Then comes Newland's law of octaves. Now, uh, you must have heard the notes of classical Indian music. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. When I say sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, we say sa, we start with sa, and the notes end into sa again. That is, every eighth note is same as the first note, but in an ascending tone. But in an ascending tone. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. So, in say similar manner to octaves of music, okay, the English scientist John Newland correlated the atomic masses of elements to their properties in a different way. In the year 1866, Newland arranged the elements known at that time in the increasing order of their atomic masses, and he started with the lightest element, hydrogen, and then ended up with thorium. He found that every eighth element had properties similar to that of the first one, which were in accordance to octaves of music. That is called as Newland's law of octaves. He could classify elements up to calcium very smoothly and easily, but he failed for further classification. That was the drawback of Newland's law of octaves. We don't have the chart for the exam for your year, for the coming SSC examination, that has been deducted from your syllabus. Okay. The most important pioneer work now was by Mendeleev. He had made a Mendeleev's periodic table, okay, and it was by the Russian scientist Dmitry Mendeleev who gave the uh, periodic table in his time based on the classification of elements based on the ascending order of their atomic masses. He could practically classify all the elements present at that time, and it was the most significant step in between the period 1869 to 1872. He considered the fundamental property of elements, namely the atomic mass, and he could classify 63 elements known at that time in a periodic table, which was called as Mendeleev's periodic table. He arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses, okay, and he transformed that into a periodic table of elements in accordance with the physical and chemical properties of those elements. Now, what do you mean by periodic? This is important point we should know. Periodic means which occurs regularly after a certain fixed interval. So when you arrange the elements in a proper order, or even if you write on a computer or a laptop or on your phone, the words will go till from side to right side, and again you come to the next line below the first line. That is, when you are arranging the elements in the ascending order of their atomic masses, then all the elements which have similar chemical properties and physical properties will lie below each other, or one below other, so that they can be grouped in one group of elements having similar physical and chemical properties. This was the basic principle on which the Mendeleev's periodic table was classified. So Mendeleev organized the periodic table on the basis of chemical and physical properties of the elements. Chemical and physical properties of the elements. These were the molecular formula. He used the main molecular formula of hydrides and oxides and their melting and boiling points and densities to understand those classification and classify them properly. Mendeleev found that elements with similar physical and chemical properties repeat after a definite interval. Now, this is very important. They could classify the elements based on the periodicity of those properties. That is, they are repeating after a definite interval. Okay, and this was how he could classify. On the basis of this finding, Mendeleev stated the following periodic law, very important for the board exams. What is the Mendeleev's periodic law? Properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic masses. What do you mean by that? So, if the arrangement occurs according to atomic masses, the properties of elements will be periodically repeated again and again. Therefore, they are called periodic functions. Periodic functions means repeated after a regular interval of time. A very, very, very important statement. State the Mendeleev's periodic law, which is an important board question too. The vertical columns in the Mendeleev's periodic table were called groups, and the horizontal rows were called periods. Okay, this is how the classification of Mendeleev's periodic table occurred. Now, when you see the Mendeleev's periodic table, so these are the vertical columns, okay, and these are the horizontal rows. So vertical columns are called groups and horizontal rows are called as periods. So now what are the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table? Atomic masses of some elements were revised so as to give them proper place in the periodic table in accordance with their properties. Means he actually corrected the atomic masses of some elements. Example, he corrected the atomic mass of beryllium from 14.09 to 9.4. Thus, it could be given a proper place before boron. The next is Mendeleev kept vacant places in the periodic table for elements not discovered till then. Now, this is what we can say the genius nature of Dmitry Mendeleev, who could actually give the properties of those elements which were not even discovered at that time. He predicted those unknown elements and he gave them names as Eka boron, Eka aluminium, and Eka silicon from the known neighbors and their atomic masses, and he indicated them as 44, 68, and 72 respectively. That is, he gave their atomic masses also. Not only this, he also predicted the properties of these elements, and now these elements have been discovered and they are named as scandium. Okay, Eka boron is scandium, Eka aluminium is gallium, and Eka silicon is germanium, respectively. Now, if you see what he had predicted and what we have found, Eka aluminium, which is called gallium, atomic mass is that is 68, and gallium has found to be 69.7, which is close to it. Density was 5.9 gram per centimeter cube, and now it has been found to be 5.94. Melting point low, it is here also 30.2 degrees Celsius. Formula of the chloride he wrote as ECl3, which we say gallium chloride. Here, formation of oxide E2O3, Ga2O3, and nature of oxide is amphoteric oxide. That is, it shows both acidic and basic properties, and it is true for gallium. Thus, his predictions came very much true. The properties of these elements matched well with those predicted by Mendeleev. Due to the success of all this convince about the importance of Mendeleev's periodic table, they were, and it really was accepted immediately by the world. Then there was no place reserved for noble gases in Mendeleev's original periodic table, but he had kept some space. So when noble gases such as helium, neon, argon were discovered, Mendeleev created the zero group without disturbing the original periodic table. This was again the best part of his periodic table, so that they were fitted very well. Okay. But then what were the demerits of Mendeleev's periodic table? There were certain flaws or drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table. So what are they? The whole number, atomic mass of the elements, cobalt and nickel is the same. Okay. Therefore, there was an ambiguity. Ambiguity means there was a confusion. Their sequence in Mendeleev's periodic table. Isotopes were discovered long after Mendeleev put forth the periodic table, and therefore they could not. Now, isotopes, what are isotopes? That you should know. Isotopes are the elements of the same kind or same substance having atoms having means they have similar chemical properties but different atomic masses. That is same atomic number but different atomic mass number. So, where to place them? That was a now hydrogen has three isotopes, so I cannot make three different places for hydrogen. So that was a challenge, which was a major flaw or the drawback of Mendeleev's periodic table. Then, when elements were arranged in an increasing order of the atomic masses, uh, the rise in atomic mass does not appear to be uniform. It was not possible, therefore, to predict how many elements could be discovered between two uh, heavy elements or other elements. Okay, so this was again a problem. Position of hydrogen has always been a challenge, even in the modern periodic table. Hydrogen shows similarity with group 7. For example, molecular formula of hydrogen is H2, while the molecular formula of fluorine and chlorine are F2 and Cl2 respectively. Okay, and similarly, there is a similarity in the chemical properties of hydrogen and alkali metals, that is group 1. Okay, there is a similarity in the molecular formula of the compounds of hydrogen alkali metals, that is like NaCl, it is forming HCl, like KCl, it is forming HCl, so on. So, these properties could not be explained by Mendeleev, and therefore hydrogen was not given a rightful place, whether to be given under group 1 or under group of halogens. So in this way, Mendeleev had certain drawbacks. So Bachapati, on this basis, three major classifications were there on atomic masses. Next, we'll be studying something about atomic number as the unique property of atoms rather than atomic masses. Okay, we will be talking about it and how modern periodic table was generated. Okay, so that we will be seeing. So friends, let's talk about the modern periodic law and the modern periodic table. Now, actually, what happened is till that time, till 1900, everybody was more interested in classifying elements based on atomic masses. And nobody talked about atomic number, actually, which is the main or the unique property of the atoms of the elements. Why? Because whenever a chemical combination occurs or a chemical reaction occurs, it is the give and take of electrons or sharing of electrons which takes place between different atoms of different elements or the same elements, and not the atomic masses. They are not even related for any chemical reactions. So in 1913, it was English scientist Henry Moseley demonstrated with the help of experiments done using X-ray tubes that the atomic number of the element corresponds to the positive charge on the nucleus, because the number of protons is same as number of electrons in a neutral atom, and therefore if we are considering the atomic number for the property of atoms of elements, it is a unique property and it's a fundamental property of an element than the atomic mass. And he opined, or he said, that we should classify the elements based on atomic number rather than atomic masses. And he put forward the modern periodic law, which is properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic numbers. Very important. Properties of elements are periodic functions of the atomic numbers. Again, modern periodic law is an important statement, or state the modern periodic law in the board exams. A very, very, very important question. So let's see the structure of the modern periodic table. Okay, so the modern periodic table was like a small complex building with little small apartments, we can say. That is, the modern periodic table consists of 7 horizontal rows which are called as period, numbered from 1 to 7. Okay, and the 18 vertical columns in the table as the groups 1 to 18. This arrangement of the period and groups result into formation of boxes. Okay, atomic numbers are serially indicated in the upper part of these boxes. Let's see that first. Okay, now if you can see, this is your modern periodic table. As I said, we have, now this is your first period, which has only two elements, hydrogen and helium. And this is the second period, the third period, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So 7 horizontal uh, rows which are called periods, and there are 18 vertical columns which are called as groups. Okay, so the periods are numbered from 1 to 7, while the groups are numbered from 1 to 18. In this way, we can actually define them into different groups and periods. So the arrangement of the periods and the groups result in the formation of boxes, as we saw in that periodic table. Atomic numbers were indicated in the upper part of these boxes. Each box corresponds to a place for one element. Very important, for one element. Okay, apart from these 7 rows, 2 rows are shown separately at the bottom of the periodic table, which we can again see. Okay, here. So there, that was the lanthanide and the actinide series, which comes to the, we'll be again talking about the 4 blocks of the periodic table. Okay, they are S block, the P block, the D block, and the F block. So 2 horizontal rows are placed below the main periodic table, and that constitutes total 14 and 14 elements. They are the lanthanides and the actinide series. Okay, so in this way they were given. So each box, these are called as lanthanide and actinide series respectively. There are total 118 boxes in the periodic table, including the 2 series. Uh, these are for the 118 elements of the modern periodic table which have been discovered. Okay, very recently, formation of a few elements was established experimentally, and therefore the modern periodic table is now completely filled. Okay, at present, 118 elements have been so far discovered. Now let's come back to blocks of modern periodic table. The whole modern periodic table has been divided into 4 blocks: S block, P block, D block, and F block elements. The S block element consists of group 1 and 2, while the group 13 to 18 constitute the P block elements. Group 3 to 12 constitute the D block, while the lanthanide and the actinide series at the bottom of the form the F block elements. The D block elements are called transition elements. A zigzag line can be seen in the P block. You can see this zigzag line, which is dividing the metals from the non-metals. Metals on the left hand side of the periodic table, and right hand side is for the non-metals. and along the borders of the zigzag line, they are the metalloids, okay, which have properties common to both metals as well as non-metals. Okay, a zigzag line can be drawn at the p block of the periodic table. The three traditional types of elements can be clearly shown in the modern periodic table with the help of zigzag line. The metalloid elements lie along the border of the zigzag line. Just now I was discussing about it. All the metals lie on the left hand side of the zigzag line, while all the non-metals are on its right hand side. So in this way, we saw that there are total four blocks in the modern periodic table: the S block, the P block, the D block, and the F block elements. S block is mainly two groups, that is group 1 and 2, okay, which consists of alkali metals in group 1 and alkaline earth metals in group 2. The P block elements lie from 13 to 18 group. The group 18 is also called as zero group elements or the noble gases, which are in the last group, that is group 18. The D block are transition elements, while the F block are inner transition elements. Okay, S, D, and F all are metals, while P block is a mixture of metals, non-metals, and metalloids along the zigzag line. So this constitutes the whole of the modern periodic table. Now, modern periodic table and the electronic configuration of elements. Okay, how I can define that? So suppose if I say I have got some element, let's take potassium, okay, which is in the fourth period and the first group. Okay, so group 1 and fourth period element, if potassium is there, then from the atomic number I can give the electronic configuration of potassium atom, which is 2881. That is, atomic number is 19. So it has one electron in the outermost orbit. So when we talk of group 1, it will all have one electrons in their outermost orbits. So hydrogen 1, its atomic number itself is 1, so it has only one electron in the s orbital. Lithium 2 comma 1, sodium 2 comma 8 comma 1, potassium 2881, and so on and so forth. So we can say that elements with the same number of shells occupied by electrons belong to the same period. So now coming back to the period. Now suppose if I talk of the third period, okay, which starts from sodium on the left hand side till argon on the right hand side, you can see that all the elements of this same period will have the same number of shells. So they have three shells, because third period denote to the number of shells, second period denote to the number of two shells or two shells in the atoms. So here from sodium to argon, you can say 281, 282, 283. Only the last shell is getting completely filled from left to right hand side. By the time you reach to the right extreme side to argon, it is 2 comma 8 comma 8. That is, the octet is complete. But the same shell starts getting filled from left hand side to right hand side. From the metals, it will go on decreasing the metallic character, and on right hand side when you reach, the non-metallic character increases, and by the time you reach group 18, it is the noble gas or the inert gases which will not show either giving or taking or sharing of electrons. It is chemically inert. So the elements in the second period, namely lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon, have electrons in the two shells K and L. Same thing you can see here: lithium, beryllium, boron. So 2 comma 1, 2 comma 2, boron 2 comma 3. That is 5 atomic number. Carbon 6, 2 comma 4 till neon 2 comma 8. In this way, the second shell starts getting filled from 1 electron to 8 electrons in the second shell, and this is how the filling occurs. The elements in the first period, in the third period, namely sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, and argon, have electrons in three shells, that is K, L, M. So we can write down their electronic configurations accordingly. and the electrons are filled from left to right, and by the time it reaches the extreme right, that is group 18, they are completely filled. The octet state has been reached. Okay, the number of elements in the first three periods is determined by the electron capacity, as we saw in the first, second, and the third shells of the shells and the law of electron octet. When the properties of elements in a period or a group of the modern periodic table are compared, certain regularity is seen, and it is called as periodic trend in the modern periodic table. In this standard, we are going to consider the periodic trend of only three properties of elements: valency, atomic size, and metallic and non-metallic characters. Valency of the element increases from 0 to 4 and then decreases from 4 to 0 across the period from left to right. That is, if I go from left to right, the valency increases, okay, from 0 to 4 and again becomes 0, okay, from 1 to 4 actually, rather 1 to 4. Okay, valency of the elements increases not from 0, it's a typo error. It is 1 to 4 and then decreases from 4 to 0 across the period from left to right. This can be understood, okay, here, that suppose lithium valency is 1, okay, it reaches to carbon where the valency is 4, until neon the valency is 0 because it will neither gain or lose any electrons. Okay, so in this way the valency occurs. Okay, so it is from 1 to 4 and then decreases from 4 to 0. Now let's talk of atomic sizes. Okay, atomic radius is expressed as a unit in the unit picometers, which is smaller than nanometers. Okay, atomic radius goes on decreasing while going from left to right within a period. The reason is, now if you see in this case, lithium, the atomic radius is 152. In the second period, we are talking of beryllium 111, boron 88, okay, carbon 77, then oxygen is 66, nitrogen is 74, and so on and so forth. What has happened, if we arrange them in proper order, we can see that the atomic radius has decreased from left to right within a period, because as the atomic number increases, the positive charge on the nucleus also increases by 1 unit at a time. However, the additional electron gets added to the same outermost shell, and due to the increased nuclear charge, the electrons are pulled towards the nucleus to a greater extent, and therefore the size of the atom decreases from left to right. Metallic and non-metallic characters, we have already discussed it once. Again, I would like to tell you that it is seen that the metallic elements like sodium, magnesium are towards the left. The non-metallic elements such as sulfur, chlorine are towards the right. So metallic character decreases from left to right, while the non-metallic character increases from left to right. A similar pattern is also observed in the other periods. We can see in other periods also the same thing. Okay, and there is a zigzag line which distinguishes or separates the metals from non-metals. Elements appear to have arranged in such a way that metals are on the left hand side, non-metals on the right hand side, and metals along the border of the zigzag line. Metal atoms have a tendency to form a cation by losing its valence electron, and therefore they are electropositive elements. While non-metals have a tendency to gain electrons or accept electrons, therefore they form anion or negatively charged ions, and they are electronegative in nature. While going down a group, a new shell gets added, resulting in increase in the distance between the nucleus and the valence electron. This results in lowering the effective nuclear charge and thereby lowering the attractive forces on the valence electrons. So while going down the group, the atomic sizes increases, okay, but the properties are only graded to a more intensity. As a result, the tendency of the atom to lose electron increases. So metallic character increases down the group. Also, the penultimate shell becomes the outermost shell on losing valence electron. What is a penultimate shell? Penultimate means the last but one shell. The penultimate shell is having a complete octet then. While going from left to right within a period, the outermost shell remains the same. However, the positive charge on the nucleus goes on increasing while decreasing, and thus the effective nuclear charge goes on increasing. As a result of this, the tendency of atom to lose electrons decrease from while a period from left to right. Okay. The two factors, namely the increasing nuclear charge and the decreasing atomic radius, as we go down from left to right within a period, are responsible for increasing the effective nuclear charge. So these were the main properties we should know, and this is how the size of the atom, the properties of the elements can be determined while going from left to right in a period, or going from up to bottom or top to bottom in the period. Okay, so you can see that is the metallic character decreases from left to right in the modern periodic table. Okay, therefore metals are on the left hand side along the zigzag line. You have the metalloids, and non-metals are placed here. Okay, so you can see decreasing atomic radius from left to right, increasing electronegativity and non-metallic characters, and decreasing electropositivity and metallic characters from left to right. While down the group, you can see atomic radius increases, decreasing electronegativity and metallic characters increases. Okay, increasing electropositive and metallic characters. Okay, so non-metallic character decreases and metallic character increases down the group. So in this way, we complete this chapter. We'll be discussing now certain questions, and then we can wind up the things for you.
So, friends, now let's discuss certain questions which will be helpful for you in the exams. The one important question which we can see is select the appropriate options and complete the following paragraph. Now, they have given you the option of 2, 7, 8, 18, 32, atomic mass, atomic number, hydrogen, and lithium. So, if you start reading the paragraph, you will understand the importance of fill in the blanks, and you have to just complete that paragraph and write those in the fill in the blank, and you have to write the full paragraph, of course, and then you have to underline the words which you have filled in. Okay. So, the answer will be in the modern periodic table, all known elements are listed in increasing order of their atomic numbers. So that has to be underlined. It starts with the lightest element, hydrogen, and proceeds to the heavier elements. The modern periodic table has 18 groups and 7 periods. The first period contains only 2 elements, while the seventh period contains 32 elements. In this way, we can answer that question very, very easily. Now, let's discuss one more question. Let's see the next question of our discussion. An element has its electronic configuration of 2, 8, 2. Now answer the questions based on that information. What is the atomic number of this element? It's a very simple question. Just add it. 2 plus 8 plus 2, that is 12. So atomic number of that element is 12. Then what is the group to which it belongs to? Since the last shell has 2 electrons, therefore the element belongs to group 2 of the modern periodic table. To which period does this element belong to? Since there are 3 shells, the element belongs to the third period. It will belong to the third period. Okay, so it belongs to the third period since it has 3 shells, K, L, M shell. And last but not the least, with which of the following elements would this element resemble? Now, if you see nitrogen 7, which is 2, 5, beryllium is 2 comma 2, argon is 2 comma 8 comma 8, and chlorine is 287. Since my given element is 2 comma 8 comma 2, it has 2 electrons in the outermost orbit. Beryllium Be, which has an electronic configuration of 2 comma 2, and since they have both same valence electrons, they would be in the same group, and therefore they will display similar chemical properties. Hence it will resemble to beryllium. Okay, now the next important question will be question number 3 for us. Elements, give reason elements belonging to the same group have same valency. Now, why they have same valency? As we have just seen in the above example we just discussed, the electronic configuration of the outermost shell is same for all the elements belonging to the same group. You can put the same example, that of magnesium 282 and beryllium 2 comma 2. So the number of valence electrons for all the elements in a group is the same. Since the valency of the element is determined by the valence electron, hence elements belonging to the same group have the same valency. Then you can give one example for the same.
So, as usual, we are always with you. Thank you very much and God bless you.